Okay, in this next video, I'm going to complete the square using this. Notice that I cannot factor this trinomial here using other techniques. Leading coefficient of 1, not going to work. I can't factor out the 2. And I can't use AC method because I'd have to find the factors of 8 that add to negative 7, positive 8 that add to negative 7, and that's not going to work. So I have to come up with something else. Now, the first step to completing the square, if you don't already have it, you need to divide everybody by that leading coefficient. Okay, we didn't have to do that in the previous example because we had a leading coefficient of 1, so that wasn't an issue. But in this one, it is an issue, so we have to do that. When we do that, we get x squared minus 7 halves x plus 2 equals 0. And now I can begin to use completing the square. Again, completing the square is taking this middle term, cutting that in half, dividing it in half, and then squaring that. So that's what I'm going to do now. X squared minus 7 halves x, and then plus negative 7 halves squared. See, 4. So I cut that in half. So 7 halves divided by 2 is negative 7/4, and then I have to square it. There's still a plus 2 from the problem, and then I have to add this to both sides. Okay, now I can rewrite this because this is a perfect square trinomial. Square. I can rewrite this as x minus, and that's going to be 7/4 squared plus 2 equals, and if I want, I can go ahead and square this, so that would be 49/16. All right, so believe it or not, we're actually getting close of how we can solve this, because now we're going to be able to move that 2 to the other side, and then we're going to be able to actually solve for this x. So I'm going to move, as I say, I'm going to move that 2 to the other side. So I get x minus 7/4 squared equals 49/16 minus 2. We have that. Now I can turn the 2 in, so I need to combine like terms, and I can combine that. I can make the 2 into 32/16, and that's the same thing as 2. And so I can do that. So I got 49 minus 2, so that's going to be 8 and 9 make 17. Yeah, 17/16. Kind of an ugly number, but that's what I got. Now I'm going to take the square root of both sides. Maybe I'll write that right here. So I have x minus 7/4 squared, and I'll need to rewrite this, plus or minus square root. Okay. Now I have x minus 7/4 equals plus or minus. Now the 17, well, that's certainly not a perfect square, but 16, square root of 16 is, that's a 4. All right. Now I can add 7/4 to both sides, so I get x equals 7/4 plus or minus root 17/4. Okay. It's a hard problem. There's 2 answers there. You have x equals 7/4 minus 17/4, and you have 7/4 plus 17/4. Okay, kind of a hard one, but yeah, it should all be there, and I hope that helps. Okay, let's try the next one. Now let's make sure I can't solve it by other means. 3 times 4 is 12, so I'd have to come up with the factors of 12, which would add to negative 1. Don't think I'm going to be able to do that. So that's not going to work. So I'm going to need to divide everybody by 3. Okay, when I do that, I'm getting x squared minus 1/3 x plus 4/3 equals 0. And now I'm going to turn these 2 terms into a perfect square. And the way I do that, I wrote a 2 and I should have wrote a 3. The way I do that is I cut this in half, And so that's going to be negative 1/6, and then I square it. Okay, but I have to add that to both sides. Otherwise, I am lying. Okay, so now I'm not lying. And what can I do? I have x. So this is now a perfect square trinomial. This is a perfect square. And that's minus 1/6 squared plus 4/3 equals, and then now we can square this, so that's 1/36. Okay, let's see. Now we can subtract 4/3. Okay, so I have x minus 1/6 squared equals 1/36 minus 4/3. Okay, now I need to combine these fractions, and so I need to turn the 3 into a 36. I think that's 18, but I am just going to check my calculator and double check. It was 12. Good thing I checked. Okay, so I need to go 12, and 12 times 4 is 48. So I can write 48 36. Good thing I checked. Okay, now I have 1 minus 48, and that's going to be negative 47. X minus 1/6 squared equals negative 47/36. Okay. Now, I need to take the square root of both sides. So I'll take the square root of both sides. And look at that. It's going to be a negative number. Maybe I'll do that down here. Square root x minus 1/6 squared equals plus or minus root negative 47/36. That's a negative number, so we're definitely going to have an I involved in this. So check out the previous videos if you're still confused on the I business, or how to take the square root of a negative number. But this will be plus or minus root 47 i's outside the square root, 6, because of the quotient rule of products, or quotient rule of the square roots. We can break that up as a 6. And so finally we have x equals 1/6 plus or minus root 47/6 I. All right. Whew. Another hard problem, but we did it. So this is two answers. Remember, this is 1/6 minus 47 root 47 over 6i, and 1/6 plus root 47/6 over times I. So that's two answers. What else can I say? Yeah, you just gotta be careful of what you're doing. Go slow. And again, completing the square is one of the most challenging things that students will have in learning algebra and how to factor trinomials, but it's such a powerful tool to be able to do this, so it's well worth learning. So I hope that this helps. In the next video, I'm going to solve every single quadratic equation ever, and we're going to get a formula out of it. But for now, it will be good for this video, so I'll see you in the next one.